Okay, the last two questions for homework I asked you to answer involve you taking a stand and explaining yourself. First of all, I want you to read carefully the section, the last section in this section of the game theory textbook titled On Taking Chances, beginning on page 141 and going over to page 143. It describes a fictional case of a battlefield commander who is in a situation that's going to involve taking risks in the choice of a strategy to go one route to try to help to bring reinforcements to the other battalions, or going another route. And there's not going to be a pure solution given his opponent's challenge, his opponent's decisions as well. And it describes a case in which the person employs a mixed strategy and it leads to disastrous results on that one-time shot. I want you to reflect on that case and think about it, and then I want you to think about the reasons Resnick gives for why the use of a mixed strategy, despite the fact that terrible things can happen by using a mixed strategy, is still the rationally best thing to do in these strictly competitive two-person games for which there is no pure solution. Resnick gives some reasons to support that idea toward the end on page toward the end of that reading on pages 142 and 143. Having read that, I want to know if you agree or disagree with Resnick by the way you answer the following two essay questions. Statisticians often recommend using chance mechanisms to choose the members of a sample in order to avoid bias. Do you think that one can support the use of mixed strategies on the grounds that they protect one against irrational biases? Might that be a reason why we might, in these game theoretic situations, where we might choose a mixed strategy when there's no pure strategy available, based on the same reason that statisticians give for using a chance device to choose samples of a subject population? Then I want you to consider question number 3 on page 144. In real life, the people with whom one usually plays games are far from ideally rational agents. Do you think that one should always follow the dictates of game theory when playing those games? I really want to hear what you have to say about this. Why in the world are we studying games from the perspective of a purely rational agent, the way that John Nash and other mathematicians first figured out solutions to these games, when in the real world we don't typically play games against ideally rational agents? Why is it important to learn what ideally rational agents would do in these situations when in the real world we play games against less than ideal rational agents? Think about what an ideally rational agent, or what approximating an ideally rational agent can do to exploit the mistakes that less than ideal rational agents makes in the context of what we've been talking about. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say in answer to these two questions as we end our discussion of the simplest games from a game theoretic perspective and go on next to non-strictly competitive games where the equilibrium concept fails us. See ya.